Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and I'm just plain living here.
Good morning, John Gray. I'm loving that Stetson hat.
You like that hat?
Yeah,
This
that
is
is
my
great.
Father's Day present that I bought for myself.
All right.
I've been looking for one of these. This is for you older viewers, if you remember Tom Mix and some of the old cowboys back in the black and white movie days.
They wore that
This
hat.
is the type of hat that they wore. And Riders in the Sky.
Yeah.
The lead singer, Ranger Doug.
Ghost Rider.
Ranger Doug wears
hat.
a hat like this. And my friend Robin Majors, who works with Kenny Chesney and has worked with almost every star in the country music, has one like this that I've coveted for years.
Well, I'm so proud you.
And so I got me.
Where did you find it? Where were you?
I found it at Orvis. Orvis is a company like all those trading companies and backpacking companies, and that has really nice.
So you found it
nice
online?
Stuff. Found it online.
Okay.
But they also have box stores.
Yeah.
So I got myself a real cowboy hat, folks. That doesn't mean I'm a cowboy.
You may have to change the way you talk, cowboy.
No, baby. I'll be a drugstore cowboy. How about that? But it'll be a new look for me for the country show.
Yeah.
Because I've worn the same hat for several years, and it's a good hat. I bought that hat from Orvis as well.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like it. I think you look fine in it. Interesting.
Hey, Carl. How you doing? And Sandy, we have Sandy Stevens.
Yeah, we have I call her the brick lady.
Jeffrey Johnson in the audience today, and they're going to be talking about our memorial at the Caboose Park downtown.
It is quite beautiful. Every time I see it,
second installation.
I'm touched.
Yeah.
It brings a lump to my throat because we need to honor these people.
Yes, we do, very much. And I want everybody to realize that it looks like the corona has gained steam again. It's the cases are growing and mounting. Tennessee's one of the 23 states that had a big increase.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, what it is,
what
it is they're opening up businesses and stuff. And the thing about it is, right now, the people who are getting it are young people.
Because they don't.
They go out and they're ready to party.
Right.
I don't blame them.
It's their age.
It's not, very few of them will die from it, but the problem is when they go back home or go see Granny over the weekend for something, that it's not that it's going to kill them, it's who they spread it to. So
yeah,
it's going to be a tough
It's something
couple
to
weeks.
take seriously, and I think people that are conscious about it will wear a mask when they need to.
You need to wear a mask when you go anywhere. You go in a place and people don't have masks on serving you, waiting on you, go somewhere else. And guess what'll happen? If everybody was to do that, all you have to do to keep this thing right is wear a mask, social distance, and wash your hands. The same stuff they've been talking about for months is all that's needed.
Oh, and
to deal
also,
with it.
You need a lot of vitamin D.
Vitamin
you need
C.
to eat properly
Yeah.
and be conscientious
And rest.
about that kind of stuff.
Rest.
Yeah.
Do you get enough rest?
Never. I've never had enough rest. I don't
Me
even
either.
know what enough rest is.
Me either.
I do. I'm sorry. I do. I get enough rest.
So you had some tryouts yesterday, Monday afternoon.
No, we were
not tryouts, but
we were
met with the band.
Met with Jerry Fox, who's the leader of the band, and we keep everybody separated in the room, and we have plans when we do this show to separate. It will not be like big crowds on the stage at the same time. We may have to have them all over the auditorium.
Yeah.
From the
That's
balcony
okay.
to the street.
And do 3 days, and a lot of times what happens at the country show is a lot of the people, a lot of the audience who have friends and family in the show come every day. Come 3 days in a row to see the different shows.
Because they're all different.
And maybe this time it might not. We might to get everybody who wants to see
It
it.
did impress me that we had a large number of people that auditioned. I was afraid the auditions would be low, but they were not. We had plenty of people. And we need money. Everybody knows we need money at the Civic Center, and it is a fundraiser, and
Right.
we hope to do well.
41st year.
Yeah, 41st year. Anyway, it's coming.
Congratulations.
Well, this year I'm no longer the director. I'm calling myself production consultant because Samantha Waters is perfectly capable of taking over the direction.
You're right.
And I'm glad to give advice and stuff like that.
Bright young lady.
So I might get a little extra hour sleep.
You think?
I think
Good
I
for
might.
you. Good for you. So what else is going on in your wonderful life?
Oh, and my wonderful life. Well, it's interesting. My life is not wonderful or it's not unwonderful, whatever that is. Yesterday I had children in my pool, and that was nice. And Baldwin's grandchildren are about, and they came and enjoyed my pool, and it was fun just to watch little people have fun. So that's new.
You know, my
It's
father,
quiet out at the farm, you know that.
Fran reminded me, I wrote a little piece about my father over the weekend, and Fran reminded me that one of the things that Daddy said was always pay attention to animals and young children.
I agree with that. Yeah, my father would have
Take
said
care
the
of
same
animals
thing.
and young children, and everything will be okay.
My father he was a farmer and a very good farmer, and any little animal that needed to be brought in the house, he would go out and drag it out of the field, be it a deer or a small goat or whatever, and it would come into the house for us to feed with a bottle and take care of it till it got on its feet. And if it was a goat, it would go out and eat the clothes off the line, and finally had to put it out in another place. But I think you need to love animals.
Sure.
And people are animals. You have to love
We're all
people.
animals.
You have to love everybody. You don't have to like them.
No,
The
but you need to
conscious
love
effort
them.
is to love them, yes.
Right. And that's a hard thing to do. You know, and speaking of animals, we live out near Avoca and Avoca Lake, and there's a lot of deer out in that area, and we have 2 and sometimes 3 mamas that like our yard.
They should be having babies by now.
And
You
they
seen
have the
babies?
little ones, the little spotted ones, and sometimes we'll have as many as 6
Oh,
in the
sweet.
yard. And next to my house, there's a row of boxwoods that I've let get a little taller than they should, and they go behind those boxwoods and lay down
'Cause
in
it's
between
cool.
the boxwoods in my house. And so Fran went out the other morning, and there was one about this tall, and Fran said, "Well, how are you this morning, dear?" I mean, they don't get up, they don't leave, they
Yeah.
know we're okay. And she said, "Well, if you'll stay here, I'll go get you an apple."
These days.
And when she came back out, the little deer was there, and she said, "Now this is an apple for you, and I'm getting ready to roll it over to you, and it's going to be okay." And she just and she rolled that apple over there to that little deer, and that little deer smelled that apple and looked at that apple and nosed that apple, and in about 3 chomps, it was gone.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it's wonderful. Nature is a wonderful, wonderful thing. My mother loved birds. She
I love
loved
birds.
watching the birds. And I know when I was out at your house recently, among the conversation that we were having, you had birds
Right.
flittering
I love
around
the- I love
outside
the
the
birds.
window, and we spent some time watching birds
I
together.
know. I love the hummingbirds. You don't see them for very long. They'll
Right.
come in and they'll buzz around, and before you know it, they've disappeared again. They're
You know,
very fast. They make
yeah, they
a
are
quick
fast.
getaway. Yeah.
You know what they do at Life Care Center, which I think is wonderful, and is outside of every window in Life Care Center here in Tullahoma, there's a hummingbird feeder.
And that's wonderful.
And a lot of the people who are in there, and particularly now when you're in a facility like that,
You can't
your
get-
family can't get to
I know,
you.
it's sad.
There's these beautiful birds coming up to the feeders, and it's amazing. All the window drapes are open, and you can see people inside watching those
I've got a
hummingbirds.
petunia basket hanging outside my kitchen window, and a yellow finch has built a nest in there, and I love watching that one. And I see the little baby, this little beak up, getting the food out of his
Yeah.
mama's mouth.
Do you have smells because of plants that you planted around your house?
Somewhat. My plants are planted for low maintenance. but I do have some that smell a lot. Roses smell, and a few other things, but I don't have as much as I'd like.
You know, when we lived on Washington Street in that big old house over there, and of course it had no air conditioning, because when it was built there was no air
Right.
conditioning, 14-foot ceilings, so the windows were always open because the heat was all up in the ceiling, up high, and there was honeysuckle and there were different bushes, flowering
Honeysuckle
bushes
smells great.
around the house, to where in the morning it'd smell one way, in the evening when one would quit blooming another one would
Another one would
start,
start.
and there was always a wonderful smell
Lilac.
coming through. Lilac.
One of my favorite
Oh,
smells.
wonderful.
And I'm trying so hard to salvage a lilac that came from my mother's place. And I don't know if it's going to live or not. It has just 2 or 3 blooms on it this year, so I'm working on it. I love that smell.
My mom was really, really good at doing that, and my dad was as well. I can't keep alive stuff that they kept alive for some reason. I'm not as good at.
Well,
I don't have that green thumb that they had.
Because I came from a farming family, I love to have plants inside the house. I
Yeah.
just like the plant. I like the oxygen they give off. It's
Right.
good for you. And this year my garden is a pepper.
One pepper.
One pepper. I'm going to do better next year. Everybody needs to grow something.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, what we're going to do is we're going to grow some fun. We're going to grow some information. We're going to bring you some cool stuff today. So after this quick commercial break, we'll be back with the rest of today's show. Don't you go away.
Hello, I'm Ray Noyes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. I'm always delighted to have people on the show that have something to do with the military. And today I have Sandy Sebring back, Colonel Johnson, and we're going to talk about the sale of bricks, correct?
Yes, well,
Are we still
actually, well, not right now.
Okay.
Not right now. Actually, the good news is that Mayor Curley approved our second dedication of 87 engraved pavers,
Wonderful.
which had just been ordered in the past few months, and they will be installed on Saturday, July the 4th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that is the 4th of July, and it just happened to be a wonderful time.
That's a good time.
Isn't that
to
great?
do this.
Yeah. A Memorial Day, we honestly weren't quite ready with all the work that had to be done there, and it was just too much in the midst of all the crisis that
Right.
we've been going through. But he agreed that the 4th of July would be a great time. So we're so excited.
That's wonderful. Was there plenty of room on the existing walk?
Yes, yes.
And is there plenty of room for more?
There is room for more, and probably 100. Now, I will have to say, if you want 15 all put together, we're going to have a problem because
We'll have to spread out this time.
we're going to have to work through placing, but there's plenty of room if it's 1 or 2 together, or even 3 together. But, and of course, just for one.
Whose original plan was this? Was this yours?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Well, congratulations
well,
for
thank
having
you.
an
Well,
eye
you
for what
see
needs
it
to be done.
everywhere, Peggy. You
I know,
you know
but
that.
still, we needed it.
Well, our kids at universities, we see the papers and we read them, and we see our children and all that, and so it was a natural, logical thought, because we wanted to connect the memorial, which is where the Blue Star, which is to honor everyone who has served in the armed forces at any time
in history.
for anything, right. And then the Gold Star is to honor families who have lost a loved one. And so we wanted, in my mind, to connect that pad with the rest of the features that were up there.
great
So
idea.
it was a 69-foot sidewalk. And that's how it started. And I will tell you, it was rather stressful to figure it all out. I'm not an
sure it was.
engineer, but we had.
But you're a woman and you're so smart.
That's what my husband
Yeah.
said. Thank
You were a military wife, right?
Right. You have to be if you want
You
to
have to
survive.
have some kind of connection. And you really know what it's like.
Yeah.
The families are in the military too. And the
That is
husband's in the
true.
military. Colonel
That-
Johnson, are you on the brick walk?
I am not currently.
Well, we need to get
We're
you
working-
on there.
we're working
Yeah.
on that.
We need
His
to get-
father, tell us.
My father is there, as well as my wife's grandfather, and so they're
Fabulous.
side by side. There's a space available.
So that goes
in
back to World War II?
World War II. Yes, ma'am.
That's
My father
wonderful.
was in Vietnam,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, Jeffrey doesn't know it, but I saw him and his wife in Kroger one day, and I recognized him, didn't really know him well, but I got out in the parking lot, and I always had forms with me, and I just took I took advantage of putting one on his windshield, thinking that maybe he would want to do that, and
Yeah.
so he did one for his father.
That's
and
beautiful.
he has a space right next to his father for his paper, and it will be ordered, and that will be done in our next installation. So
That's touching. I mean, every time I look at it, I get tears in my eyes. I get emotional. I'm proud to have my son and my husband on the walk, and it means a lot to me, and my brother-in-law. And thanks for checking that out.
Yes, absolutely.
What do people need to do if they want information from you and to get a form and apply
Okay.
for the next installment?
Well, I've kind of been on vacation, but by the 1st of July, we will have forms newly printed, because you always have to change the date
Right.
and so forth. available at City Hall.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so at this point, that's where you would go to get a form.
Okay.
Or they'll probably mail you one if you call.
And then all the information that
And
you
the
need is on the
information
form.
is on the form. It would be sent to me or to Rocky. We haven't decided yet. I need to talk with him.
Yeah.
But it would be sent to us with the money, your check, and then we hold them until we get at least 20.
Right.
And we may have more. We could put in another 100. We have 487 at
I think
this
that's
point.
pretty impressive. I really
I'm
do.
thrilled.
Okay, just for your information, when you get the form, don't fill it out right away until you copy it, because I made several mistakes and I'd run over the line. So anyway, I just
So
thought I'd
true,
throw that
Peggy.
in. Yeah.
So true. And people have asked us also, they know that we made money from selling the pavers. That was never a secret. And what are you going to do with it? And
Oh, that's a
our
good question.
purpose and plan has been formulated and agreed on by the club, and the money will be used, and we have a considerable amount for scholarships for
ROTC.
for continuing their education. Descendants of veterans who have qualified, have turned in their applications. This would be a Shady Grove scholarship fund.
And this is the Shady Grove
Garden
Club
yes.
that does this. We
Yes.
need to mention that.
Because it all started with the Shady Grove putting in the Blue Star and Gold Star memorials, which was only could be done by a garden club.
Yeah.
And it was originally started right after World War II to honor veterans. And so we picked up on that and thought that Tullahoma should have one, and so we did too, and both of them.
I'm really proud of that. I know Blossom Merriman, who's
Yes.
been a big help. She's
Uh-huh.
a friend of mine. And how about the high school ROTC? Have you all been meeting yet, or with this pandemic going on?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We've been having some cadet work days just because we abruptly, stopped the school year last
Right.
year around the 20th of March. So there's always work to be done there. Uniforms turned in, cleaned, put back on the shelves, inventories, preparation for the next school year. We're also planning on doing our leadership camp the 7th through the 10th of July. Which is a shift from when we normally do it.
And where do you
which
do
is-
that? Locally?
Well, locally, but we also incorporate going down to Ocoee and doing whitewater rafting.
Oh, fun.
We also do treetop obstacle course at Falls Creek Falls, and we incorporate some reaction course leadership drills for the cadets. And there's still a few things that have to align in order for us to be able to pull this off because of the virus, but
Right.
we just
Hopefully
take one step
it'll
at a
work,
time,
yeah.
and we're hoping everything will work out. Maybe 30 cadets at our
About
camp.
I was
30.
going to ask you how many.
30
About-
cadets.
And what age, is that freshmen through seniors, or?
It's
when can they-
sophomores.
Sophomores.
Through seniors.
I've seen the kids do flag ceremonies, and they're always so impressive.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
always
Our
touched
color
by
guard plans on supporting.
I
the-
know.
Oh, good.
I was thrilled. He called me a couple of weeks ago and said that he would like to do that at the dedication. And that
That's
is
perfect,
such an impressive ceremony. It adds so much
And it
to
brings
us
the young
being-
people
yes,
into-
yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I get
Very
afraid
important.
that this generation will lose sight of what the World War II memorial means. I mean, if you want to be touched, and the Vietnam and Korea and all of the memorials, the people that are willing to serve this country with such valor
Yes.
is to be honored.
Yes, it is.
It's not a race thing.
I
It's
agree.
all about the people.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And my husband came home Memorial Day, and about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, and he said, there's a man down at the memorial, and he's in full uniform, World War I, and he's standing guard. And so this is a picture of Colonel Jeffrey Johnson that day, and it was on Facebook, and I had this copy. I don't know if they can see it very well, but it is he stood there for 6 hours?
From sun up, that's when the flag goes to half-staff, and then until noon.
Until noon.
So it's about 5:30 until noon.
And it was a hot day.
It was pretty hot. I can barely fit in that uniform too.
This
so
is
it was
for you.
Well, I was going to say, you're very fit, and I think working with the troops does that, and that's why they've cut us off, actually.
I'm going to try to get a cadet to do this next year.
Y'all will have to come back, and we'll talk again.
Okay, all right.
Sandy,
Well,
Jeffrey, thank you so much for what you're
Yes, ma'am.
doing.
All right.
Thank you very
We're
much.
coming back.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had our city board meeting last night where the third and final reading of the budget was heard, and that is the time of the year when the mayor gives the state of the city, and I think Mayor Curley did this for his 18th time. And here's Lane Curley with the State of the City address.
Okay, to the Board of Aldermen and the citizens of Tullahoma. For the 18th and last time, I present a budget message and State of the City to you as mayor. I appreciate this opportunity to discuss the economic vitality of Tullahoma, as well as some of the achievements that have shaped our community the past year. I am pleased to report the city government enjoys an AA2 bond rating, one of the highest in the state for a community our size. The city government once again had no audit findings. Your city government earned the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Management, as well as the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, one of the few cities in Tennessee to have that distinction. These are independent and objective measures of how your tax monies are managed and measured for financial soundness. This budget represents a fiscally conservative approach to manage the fiscal affairs of city government. I appreciate the leadership of City Administrator Jennifer Moody and Finance Director Sue Wilson for their professional approach in managing the fiscal affairs of city government. I also appreciate the department heads for their leadership and management of the day-to-day affairs in their departments. I'm pleased to report we have met the biggest challenge Tullahoma and the world has experienced in years. As of today, 99 people in Coffee County have tested positive for COVID-19, and fortunately no deaths from the virus have been reported, and all but 25 have recovered. The coronavirus has challenged our city both fiscally and emotionally. In March, Ms. Moody took decisive fiscal action, curtailing expenditures across all departments of city government. I appreciate her quick action. The preparation of this budget has been a particular challenge with all the uncertainty. Emotionally, I'm confident many citizens, Tullahoma citizens, have scars that will take time to heal. The Coffee County May unemployment rate is an unbelievably high 19.8%. However, I'm encouraged to see so many help-wanted signs in businesses around town. I know of many instances when Tullahoma citizens stepped up to help their neighbors. I appreciate Alderman Dunn and Citizen Lee Fogel coordinating a community effort to help citizens in need. I also appreciate several members of the Mayor's Youth Council for their help in contacting over 1,000 senior citizens to make sure their basic needs were being met. I have faith in Tullahoma's diverse economy, strong entrepreneurial sector, and livability, and that will continue to attract both private and public investment. Now to the budget before you. This budget represents our best effort at preserving, managing, and building the assets of Tullahoma, whether these are people, buildings, or programs. I welcome the board's and citizens' suggestions and offers of improvement. The budget as proposed contains no property tax increase for the next fiscal year and is balanced. It does not appropriate additional monies for Tullahoma City Schools. The departments of city government made requests to improve or enhance services that will not be funded in this budget. Thanks to excellent financial stewardship, total operating expenditures are down 3.7%. Step raises are included for city government employees. Other 2021 budget highlights include, because of COVID-19, total city government revenues are projected to be down 3.3% based on state and national projections. However, so far, Tullahoma saw a 6.1% increase in sales tax collections in March, year over year, and as of Saturday, an incredible 8.4% increase in sales tax collections for April. This is in contrast to the state's sales tax collections in April of a decrease of 14% year over year. If this trend continues, modifications to the budget can be made during the fiscal year. This increase, in my opinion, is primarily due to Tullahoma being positioned as a retail hub and the number of grocery stores and other stores selling essential items. Nearly every department of city government will see a decrease in expenditures this next year with a total decrease of 3.7%. Once again, I appreciate the work of Ms. Moody and Ms. Wilson and department heads for aligning expenditures with anticipated revenues. I realize there were many difficult decisions made in this budget. The city government will receive a direct appropriation of over $450,000 in stimulus funds. There are no strings attached to this money. It can be used for capital expenditures or to balance the budget should conditions turn south. Our 7 new community initiatives are seeing active community engagement. I continue to look for big things from Get Fit Tullahoma and the tourism, downtown, arts, Go Green, sports, and entrepreneurial councils. I'm also excited about the Diversity Council as proposed by Alderman Blackwell. All of these are designed to enhance the quality of life in Tullahoma. It is also important we design a community to which our young families want to remain, return, or relocate. My research tells me these young families want to live in artsy, green, fitness-oriented communities like we are trying to build here. Despite the national and international challenges that have impacted Tullahoma, I am so proud and pleased with what the people of Tullahoma have accomplished this year. I'll mention but a few. In March, the Tullahoma micropolitan area was recognized as the number 37 micropolitan area in the U.S. by Site Selection magazine, 37 in the country. In May, the Tullahoma micropolitan area was ranked 7th nationally for our entrepreneurial ecosystem's capacity to foster strong growth by a think tank affiliated with the Walton Foundation. Polycon once again selected the Tullahoma micropolitan area as the number 1 micropolitan area in the state. Friends, these are all objective evaluations of our community. and we are 37 in the country in one, 7 in the country in another, and 1st in Tennessee. Over 100 new companies now call Tullahoma home. The Chamber of Commerce added 46 new members, bringing their total membership to over 400, breaking their record. The 2020 THS graduates once again earned millions of dollars in scholarship monies. The Tullahoma City Schools nutrition staff served over 100,000 meals to children during the extended school closure. Tullahoma was one of 10 communities selected in the TVA region to participate in the Innovation Academy to develop methods to boost entrepreneurial startups in Tullahoma. We welcomed several high-profile retailers and saw several local industries expand. LightTube subscriber counts exceeded 4,000. TUA dedicated their solar farm. There were 582 building permits with a total valuation of $49,954,521.41. Remarkable. Downtown renovations are continuing with much more work in progress. The Sports Council inducted the second group of Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame honorees. In my opinion, our chief job as mayor and alderman is to define our vision and inspire the community to help reach the vision. It is critical we keep our eyes on our bold vision for Tullahoma to be considered world-class in everything we do. From job creation to cleanliness to high school graduation rates and everything in between, I want Tullahoma to be the best and considered a world-class community. There appears to be a great deal of confidence in Tullahoma, both from citizens already here and from outsiders looking to invest here. And many more exciting things are on the drawing board. By growing Tullahoma, diverse jobs will be created from entry level to the professional level. The opportunities are ours, but we do not want to wait on opportunities, we want to create them. Many of the positive actions I presented are due to the efforts of the city government and affiliated agencies. However, there are countless acts of goodwill that quietly happen every day by Tullahoma citizens, businesses, churches, and organizations that truly make a positive difference in the lives of all Tullahomans. Thanks everyone for all you do to make Tullahoma a great place to work, live, play, and raise our families. Once again, I want to challenge all of us by 3 thoughts. Great cities are intentional, not accidental. In other words, we must have a plan and take strategic steps to accomplish our plan. Number 2, why can't Tullahoma be the best in everything we do? Some city is going to be the best. Why not Tullahoma? We should always strive to be the best in everything we do. Number 3, if you really love Tullahoma, you have to help make Tullahoma better. We all have opportunities to improve Tullahoma, whether through your school, job, civic club, church, neighborhood, or household. Get involved. Make a difference. Leave Tullahoma better than when you found it. In summary, Tullahoma is truly a blessed community. We have so much to be thankful for and so much to look forward to. While it truly is a great day to be in Tullahoma, let's always remember we can make a great community even greater. Let's leave Tullahoma better than when we found it by the work we do and the decisions we make. I look forward to watching what this board, the city government, and the citizens of Tullahoma accomplish in the next fiscal year. It truly is a great day to be in Tullahoma. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ray Noyes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. and there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections, timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks, and this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I'm very excited today. You know how much I like sports, and you know how much I like football, and specifically Tullahoma Wildcat football. I have Coach Olive, the head coach of the Wildcat football team and athletic director at Tullahoma High School, here with me today, and we're going to talk some football. Hi, Coach.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm so glad to see you. How's everything been going in this crazy time we've been having? How in the world does a coach accomplish anything when he can't get close to his players?
It makes it a little difficult. We were just happy to be back around our players beginning May 26th as we are operating. We have a couple of different guidelines, but primarily our school system and our city, from what I've been told, we're operating underneath Governor Lee's recommendations, and we also have what's called NFHS recommendations, which is the National Federation of High Schools. So May 26th, we started having workouts again. You were put into groups of 10, and as soon as one group went through the weight room was disinfected with electrostatic disinfectant, and then another group would come in after a few minutes had gone by.
So to interrupt, that's a piece of equipment that had to be bought.
Actually, our school system already had the equipment. When we had the flu outbreak a couple of years ago, our school system had purchased an electrostatic disinfector because, like this studio room that we're in right now, you could have this room disinfected in a couple of minutes. So they could do an entire school in 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
So
that's great.
Oh yes, it's a huge time-saving device, and because I don't understand exactly how it works, but I did see it demonstrated, and I saw Tim Jensen, who is now the head of our maintenance for our school system. I saw Tim get down on his hands and knees and take black lights and everything else to see the coverage, and it was just unreal what it's able to do. And so when everybody else is scrambling to get those, our school system already had one, and we have added to that now. We have more than one unit.
That's great.
And we had actually ordered that before the pandemic broke out. Tim Jensen, I think, deserves a round of applause that he was ahead of the curve on this, and he's added even a few more since the
So they can walk in, and in 5 or 10 minutes, you've got the green light.
That's right. We wait about 10 minutes, 10 to 15
isn't that
minutes
wonderful?
to let it clear out and then bring the next group through.
Wow, that's great.
Made for long days for some of our coaches and stuff, because you were going, instead of having, 40 guys or girls in there at a time, which is about the maximum of what our weight room can hold. You're set up, social distancing. They were all, once you went to station 1, you stayed at station 1 until you walked out the door. So there was no me spotting you or me doing an exercise here and then going over to your station and doing it. All the exercising was done individually at a station by yourself. And then we went outside and did conditioning and so forth. Where it got difficult is trying to do schematics. Whether I'm a basketball coach trying to teach you how to set a screen, it's hard to do that if I can't get up close to set the screen. And so, our coaches learned real quick. We can do drill work, individual drill work, can't do a lot of schematics because you don't turn around and reteach what you just taught wrong. Because instead of me setting a screen where I'm supposed to, I'm 6 feet away from you setting that screen. And they realized real quick that they were going to turn around and be reteaching the same thing again. So right here, we're in the dead period now. When we come out of the dead period, July 6th, we're hopefully going to be able to move rather rapidly toward phase 4. And we'll be in phase 3 unless something happens locally here and our health department rules that we are going backwards instead of forward.
Don't you think, Coach, that going through a situation like this, and I know how proactive you are as a head coach and how proactive your coaches are, this is going to show what kind of player leadership that you have on your team, because those guys aren't under any mandate on going to Bobby's backyard and doing some stuff.
And that's correct. And then, whether it was soccer, like soccer could work with their goalie because you could get them in their small groups, and therefore I'm sharing the ball with my small group. I'm not, but you couldn't really teach how to play defense.
Right.
All right. Yeah. But I could work on my people shooting a ball at the goal, and the goalies gets plenty of work and so forth. So, and in football we had the same thing. We struggled at trying to, hey, when you run this route, you keep on, once you break in, you keep on running, because this is a defensive drill and we're trying to get that linebacker to know where to drop to.
Right.
So there were, but it was just good to be able to be back around them. I told, I'd gotten the feeling really old.
Really quick.
During this time period where we're all shut down and we're at the house, etc. Be back around young people again, maybe added a couple of more years to me feeling a lot more youthful. Being around them, there's some energy there that I feed off of.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're only as young as we feel, as we allow ourselves to feel, and if we allow it, we can be pretty young. What do you think about the makeup of the team this year, and what are your different positions, and your line play, your defensive play, offensive play? How things going to look when you finally put it all together?
We're excited.
Are you?
Yeah. Now, we didn't have a spring practice this year, and we really, there's been no 7-on-7 that we've done and so forth. So, but we're excited. Our linemen are primarily going to be juniors. We got a couple of senior linemen, though, that are providing just outstanding leadership and working really, really hard and encouraging others to work with them. Skill player-wise, we're running better than we have in a long time. Now, we don't have that many that's got just super top-end speed, but it's been over a decade since we've had this much overall speed.
That's great.
The 2018 team had a lot of overall speed on it. Hopefully, this team we think actually has a little bit more speed than that team. the key will be is whether they're as good of football players as that
There
team
you
was.
go. Size-wise,
Size-wise, we're huge.
You're
huge.
Yeah.
You know, we got one more year of being huge, and then we'll go back to being normal Tullahoma. But right now,
well, we need to get her done, don't we?
Yeah, right now, and those linemen are all moving so much better than they did last year. We're excited. You got to find out who can play, who can play the game, but and who that component that a lot of people forget about is that little thing called team chemistry. And I'm telling you, team chemistry is so important. And in today's environment in our society, there's a lot of things that are happening.
Yes, there are.
That have happened in team sports for years. Because when you and I play on a team, I don't worry about where you go to church. I don't worry about your skin color. I don't worry about where you eat, and you don't worry about where I eat unless it's out of necessity that you see that I need food.
Everybody needs to eat.
Yeah, and there was a tweet put out a couple of weeks, maybe it was last week. Georgia Tech is the team that is in the tweet. It's got Bill Curry that's doing the talking throughout the video. And he talked about not only the game of football, but he talked about what it means to be a part of a team. And that you don't worry about skin color, you don't worry about who's from high social economics, who's from low. You know that you depend on each other. And in the sport of football, everybody depends on it. Herschel Walker didn't look very good when he played for the New Jersey Generals. No. But the next year, our president now was the owner of that team, goes out and buys 3 NFL contracts up, and he's got 3 super linemen, and all of a sudden Herschel Walker rushes for over 2,000 yards. Now, I'm dating myself by using Herschel Walker.
That's okay.
But it's the true team sport.
Right.
We all sweat together. I've got to have you to be successful in order for me to be successful. I know it was Coach Dyer that used to have a saying that he kept on his wall. All great running backs look the same when there's no place to go. And that is so true. I don't care how great an athlete you are, you're depending on those other guys to get their job done.
That's right.
And that's what our community needs. That's what our country needs.
Yes.
They need to understand we're all in this together.
That's exactly correct.
And that I would go look it up. I wish I could tell you exactly the name of the tweet and where it came from, but it's about a 1.5-minute video that regardless of whether you like the sport of football, listen to the message. Right. Because it's in every team sport. That's the key, team chemistry. And because of that, we all come together for one common goal, and that's to be the best team we can be.
That's right.
And everybody is dependent upon everybody in the sport of football. Sport of baseball might have a great pitcher that just overwhelms everybody. I know in softball it happens because you see softball programs become instant powerhouses when they recruit that one young lady. Sport of football, though, every guy's dependent upon the other one doing his job. And one of the quotes he had in there, he says, everybody thinks about quitting. If they don't, they're lying. Because it's true. Every one of us that have played a sport that is really, really tough, you have thought about, is it worth it? And then you realize, yeah, it is. And you go and you do it. And I just appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys very much.
Thank you. Coach John Olive, folks, we look forward to a great season this year. It'll be different as everything else has been, but it will be Tullahoma Wildcat football, and it's always one of the most exciting things that happens in this town year in and year out since this man's been here. We appreciate you, all you've done, all you've given, and again, I will say, as I have for years, it was a privilege to have my son play football for you. And if you have a young man and you're worried about the game and worried about what the game teaches, it's a privilege to have your son play for this man right here So don't stand in their way of success. Let them be part of something great. We'll be back right after these messages.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and you know, one of the things that I have learned throughout the years is being involved with the arts, theater, music, everything to do with the creative aspect of our lives has almost always been equal opportunity in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'm sure for a while the women didn't get as many parts in movies as they thought they should get, and this and that and the other, but when you're on stage, particularly in a small town stage like Tullahoma, God bless South Jackson Civic Center and the people for years and years and years, the Harton family and other people who have made sure that it stayed open, because that is one of the most equal opportunity arenas that there is. And that's where everybody that's involved with a play or a musical or whatever is part of a team. And who cares as long as you get on that stage and do your job. I met Darius Wallace on that stage several years ago, one of the most incredible young black men that I've ever met, and interviewed him, and we're going to bring you part of that interview right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, John Gray here, and I'm so proud today to have a wonderful young man in the studio with us, Darius Wallace, and he is in Tullahoma to do the poetry of Langston Hughes tonight at South Jackson Civic Center. He was here, what, a year ago?
Yes,
to do Frederick Douglass.
That's right.
And one of our wonderful statesmen.
Yes.
From time back in history, and and Langston Hughes is another one of those magical people.
Yes.
Who taught so much through his poetry.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Darius is from Memphis.
Well, I'm originally from Flint, Michigan, but I live in Memphis.
Live in Memphis
My wife
now.
and kids, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And you travel around and you are a creative individual who makes your living on stage.
That's right. Mainly.
And mainly,
yes,
and you also write.
I write.
You also do some screenplay work.
I do screenplay and some screen acting, but mainly it's stage these days, and I'm starting to do films more and more. I just wrapped on a film that's a horror called It Knows last Saturday, and I'll be in another film called Dysphoria that starts shooting at the end of the month, where I play a compassionate but hard-nosed sheriff. So,
really?
So I do film, but
how do you enjoy that versus stage work?
I love it. I love both. It used to be a time when I would say I love movies or camera acting better than stage, and then there were times when I would say I love stage better than movies, but Nowadays, I've found something special in both. They both satisfy something for me and gives me satisfaction in inspiring the audience, because that's really what I'm all about. And there's something within film acting and being able to see something on screen or on the small screen that can be just as powerful and also too when you're doing live performing, where the audience is right there because the interaction is happening immediately.
And you're sucking that energy.
That's right. And it really is about, I think I drew satisfaction from both equally when I discovered that I'm a storyteller and that I love stories and that I love telling stories. I love hearing stories, and there's a tremendous amount of power in stories. And I think it's because of that I find satisfaction in both.
Right. And so, Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
What in the world happens in Flint, Michigan to set young Darius Wallace on the course that's led you to where you are right now, sitting in a chair with me in Tullahoma, Tennessee, talking about performance?
Diamonds in the rough. I think in every city, in every country, and I want to use the example of third world countries and cities where there's a lot of crime and what have you, that there are diamonds there. There are diamonds in the rough. Rural areas that are forgotten about, like here in Tullahoma, there are diamonds in the rough. And I was a diamond in the rough because I've been this size since I was 13 years old. I've had this voice since I was 13 years old. I had the sideburns, hair on my face at 13 years old. I looked like I was 19. And I'm a martial artist. And kids during that time knew that. And there was a street gang called the Top Dogs. And because I'm this size at 13, and because I'm in martial art, I was a prime candidate for that street gang. And I was on my way to being initiated. Matter of fact, I was being initiated into that gang when I got in trouble with Mr. Bronson, who I had the privilege of reaching after all these years back in September when I was in Flint. I did a show in Flint. I was able to call Mr. Bronson and thank him because Mr. Bronson, when I was 13 years old, the last day of school, he gave me an ultimatum. He says, you can either do what I know you love to do, which is be in drama, or you can go this route and end up in juvenile or jail. And I'm going to tell your father. Or dead. And I'm going to tell your father, which I could accept dead. I could accept juvenile jail, but please don't tell my father. Okay, if you remember Good Times, my father is James Evans. Okay, and so I was fortunate in that moment to make the decision, the choice. You know, there's always that choice that we have. There's always that crossroads to choose drama. And theater took me out of that life. And I remember after doing my first lead role, walking home from school, I was in high school at this point, freshman year, a car slowly pulled up. Cars rolled down. It's like a typical movie, urban movie where something bad's about to happen. And it was folks from that gang. They told me to get in the car. Of course, what am I going to do? I got in the car and they said, we saw the show and we're really proud of what you're doing. We don't want you to go this route. You do what you love to do. And they let me out of the car and never saw him again.
Wow.
And what
a great story.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, some died, some were killed, some went to prison, others made it out also. And it was just a very powerful thing. So my point is diamonds in the rough. They're diamonds there. All those guys were diamonds also in the rough. They were all of us are. We all are diamonds in the rough. And so in Flint is where my theater teacher, Mr. Jennings, Martin Jennings, saw something special in me. As I was telling the kids at the show this morning, when I was their age, I was too afraid to stand up in front of people because I would forget all my lines. But there was a man, Mr. Jennings, who was a theater teacher who's still there teaching theater. Still there. I was able to
Isn't that great?
I was able to sit in his class when I was there, and it just felt
wonderful.
like I was, and he's the same guy, the way he teaches now is the way he taught way back in the early 80s. And he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he pulled it out. And it was the pulling out of that enabled me to go to places that I never thought I would see. And so that's what Flint is, and it still is that. There's Flint has having its issues, but there's also some great things that are happening in the city where the city is turning around, but it still has a long way to go.
Well, and you've spent some time recently up there fighting the battle on trying to find enough potable water for people to survive.
That's right, and there's still a lot of issues with that there, but they have water filters now everywhere. So they've been handing out water filters as well as water.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So if there's anybody out there that wants to donate, there are a number of agencies and entities to get in touch with in Flint to be able to also donate filters, or money toward water filters. Good. Yeah.
So one thing that's impressed me, well, there's many things impressed me about you. Number one, you say, how did he know? When he heard that voice, he had to know. There was something special going on there. If you're a drama teacher,
right,
and a 13-year-old has that voice,
right,
there's something there.
Yes.
But what impresses me so is how you embrace your culture. And how you share your culture. And I've told many people that the show you did, Frederick Douglass, is probably, and I've been going to South Jackson Civic Center for a long time, probably the most impressive show I've ever seen there.
I appreciate that.
And it made me think about things. You make me think about things in a way that I normally don't think about them. And that we all need to be pushed along a path a little bit every now and then.
Sure.
And you do that in such a gentle way, and using the material that is so profound, and how you present it is spectacular.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And so along the way, along the path, you know, how have you, Darius, continued to grow and learn in your craft? Are there certain things that you've done to help you mature in your craft?
Oh, yes. I believe that this art form of acting is a lifetime of learning. And so I'm always open and searching for new ideas and putting myself back into class, putting myself back under a teacher or an instructor, which I do to this day, always seeking and learning on what can I do to be better. I'm fortunate to be a part of the Tennessee Shakespeare Company. And the Tennessee Shakespeare Company is funny because the founder of it, Dan McCleary, comes from out of this acting technique. It's really a voice technique called Linkletter. And it's a very special acting technique that fits classical theater well, which would include Shakespeare. But his wife, who is Stephanie Shine, who was the artistic director of Seattle Shakespeare, they married, and she comes from a different vocal technique called Lessig. And so the two are married, and I'm fortunate to get the benefit of that.
Both
sides. Yeah. And there are other things too that you learn in performing Shakespeare and working with Tennessee Shakespeare. But not only is it a professional acting company, but it's also like a school, because in the rehearsals you're constantly learning new things about yourself and new things about the art of acting. So I'm fortunate to be a part of that theater company. But just in general, I'm constantly seeking, constantly learning. My agent, her husband is a major acting teacher in New York. And so if I send in an audition that doesn't look as good as she wants it to look, she will get on my case. She will. She's New York, so she doesn't pull any punches. So Meg, you're gonna see this, and I want you to know I'm telling the whole world you don't pull any punches, but she will let me know and make me do it over again.
Right.
So she treats me also not only as her someone that she promotes, to the television and film world, but she also understands acting, and she wants to make sure I hit the mark. So I'm a student.
Well, I think personally that the internet and Facebook and YouTube have driven us to accept sometimes things that are less than perfect or less than good because they're funny. You know, because the baby's dancing or the dog's jumping or something.
Yeah.
But I think we as a society right now give up too quickly, and it's too easy to say that's good enough. When it's really not
You're so right
good
about
enough.
That. Yeah, you're so right about that. You're so right about that. Yeah, it's well, technology. One thing it's done for us is that a lot of times we hesitate when we want to live our passion, we want to live our dream. And one thing that technology has done for us is gives us an opportunity immediately to get involved, which I think is really important. Because a lot of times we wait for all the lights to be green before we go.
They're never all green.
And sometimes we need to shoot first, aim later when it comes down. So technology gives that to us. But on the flip side, you're right, it also promotes mediocrity, and it if you allow for it to, it can lower the standard of excellence. And so I think it's really important to, even though you have all that out there, to continually seek for those works of art, those stories, those techniques that elevate you as a singer, as an actor, as a writer, as a producer, as a musician, that you continue to strive for excellence and to not allow for yourself to be dumbed down to the point where your art and your passion is dumbed down.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so with that said, to me, that's a perfect segue to talk about another side of your life.
Yes.
And the other side of your life is you are finding it interesting and enjoyable and noteworthy to speak publicly
Absolutely.
to young people, young entrepreneurs, and young people on the power of public speaking.
Oh, yes.
And how to sell oneself in a positive manner in the marketplace.
That's right. I started a business called SoloSpire. SoloSpire is a business dedicated to the inspiration of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. What is a solopreneur? A solopreneur is someone that is an independent contractor. You're working for yourself, but it's just you. And the power in that is a lot of times when we do that, we still kind of see ourselves as an employee, and we don't organize like we're entrepreneurs. But when we organize like we're entrepreneurs, we're able to grow our idea. You know, whether we're an artist, whether we're a realtor or outside salesperson, when you see yourself as a solopreneur, you're going to organize your life like a business, and you're going to see how you can cause your business to grow. And one of the ways that you cause your business to grow is through the art of public speaking. And so I go out and speak and inspire in that respect, but then I also teach you how to speak and inspire as it relates to your mission, your passion, your calling, and what your business is.
Right.
And so I love to do that. I love to coach. I work with commercial real estate realtors. Also, I've worked with executives at production companies. I've worked with financial advisors, and I've worked with sales reps. I've worked with teachers on how to increase their ability to public speak, and not only just giving speeches, but also utilizing the power of story to make their presentations even more powerful. So I do group presentations, I help you deal with groups, but I also help you deal with one-on-one, where you learn simple things like what I'm doing with you right now. We're making contact in our right eye, if you notice. The reason why that's important is because the right eye is connected to our left brain. Our left brain is the analytical side. It's the side that we feel the most comfortable with because it's our public side.
Right.
And so we have that in common. So we build rapport looking at each other right out. However, if I switch and start looking into your left eye, that's uncomfortable. Why? Because the left eye is connected to the right side of your brain. That's your private side. That's your singing in the shower side.
Right.
That's the thing you don't want people to see. So eye contact is really powerful, but a lot of times when we're making eyes, which eye do I look at? Well, it's the right eye for the most part that you want to look at. The other thing that I'm doing, if you look at my body and look at your body, what do you see?
We both have our hands in front.
Yep, I'm mirroring you, and not necessarily on purpose, but this is what we do as human beings. When you mirror the person that you're communicating to, it also creates instant rapport because you have something in common. So I teach that when it comes down to one-on-one presentations, when you're speaking with someone one-on-one. There are these little things that you can do to help build rapport and make that connection. I told you a story.
Yep. Sure did.
Because what happens is when I tell you that story, you see it in your own mind and you experience it with me. You also refer to your own life to see what happened in your life that was similar. So stories are really powerful when you're doing the one-on-one or when you're doing group presentations. And there are other things that I teach that can help empower you to deal with body language, facial expressions, vocal inflection.
Sure. Well, how does someone, I mean, not that we're doing an advertisement here,
Sure.
but how does someone get in touch with you, Darius, if they want to find out about you and call you or have you come to their convention or their office meeting or just one-on-one?
Sure.
How do they find you?
They can reach me via email. Right now it's phildwallace@yahoo.com.
Phil?
P-H-I-L.
Okay.
D. Wallace@yahoo.com.
Okay.
My full name is Phil Darius Wallace.
Right.
But my stage name is Darius Wallace. So my email is phildwallace@yahoo.com. And they will, in the next couple of days, be able to go to the website, which is solospire.com. Solospire.com. Or they can call me 901-262-0126, and I speak to associations, corporations, events, schools.
Well, that's wonderful.
And also coach and train. So.
And folks, let me tell you what, just spending some time with this guy is enlightening. just to feel the energy that this young man radiates, full of life and full of fun and full of good stuff.
Thank you.
It's great to be around you. Now tonight at South Jackson,
Yes.
that's going to be a show where he's going to be reading the poetry of Langston Hughes, which is one of those icons in your culture.
Yes.
who speaks in common words to people about common things and describes life so beautifully.
Oh, yes.
And I know you'll do a fantastic job with that. That's at 7 o'clock at South Jackson Civic Center. Of course, that's tonight, so most of you people won't know that. It won't make any difference. It'll all be over with, but we'll know it because we'll be there and have an opportunity to see this young man transform an empty stage into a theater of life through his words and his actions, and phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
My friend, thank you so much for being with us today, and know that you're always welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I
Let me
really
look at you
appreciate
with my left eye, because I want you to know how bad I sing in the shower.
That's great.
Folks,
All right.
we'll be back.
Moment. It may be a few more than just a moment, but we're happy to be here again and share some news and some hysterical and historical facts about good old Tullahoma, Tennessee. I saw in the paper the other day where one of the beautiful old homes was being raised on North Jackson Street, the Freeman and Wooten House. And Tullahoma has had some beautiful homes back in its history. And on North Atlantic Street, that the first and second and third block of Atlantic Street, some big homes were built before the turn of the century that were built by railroad executives. And since there weren't a lot of good transportation at that time, the railroad office building was in the 100 block of North Atlantic, next door to the First Baptist Church, and that was the railroad office building that the executives walked to work, and they lived in the first and second and third block of North Atlantic Street. The picture I'm holding in my hand here and sharing with you was a home that was built at 308 North Atlantic Street, and another one was next door to it at 312 North Atlantic Street. And there was a banker here by the name of Hickerson that had two daughters, and they were going to marry brothers, the Wrought brothers, Minnie and Alma Hickerson. And they married brothers, and their father gave them their residence, these beautiful homes there, as a wedding gift. And they were built in 1894. And the homes were right next to each other there, and they were 2 stories. Both of these homes had a full basement that was always dry. They were heated by grates, not stoves, but fireplaces or grates. They all had hardwood floors and beautiful marble fireplaces with beautiful wood and staircases, hickory and oak staircases, and the downstairs ceilings were 14 feet high. The upstairs ceilings were 10 feet high, and the attics in both buildings were fully sealed, so that you could even have extra space in the attics if you wanted to. This home was bought by my grandfather, W.J. Daddy Couch, in 1904, and because the Wrought brothers had left Tullahoma and it became available, and just by coincidence, Dr. Charlie Crouch from Springfield bought the house next door from the Wroughts, and about that same time he moved here from Springfield. And the Couches and Crouches were neighbors for many, many years. The houses were built by a wonderful builder, I think by the name of G.W. Stegall, that hand-selected every piece of material that went in these homes. And if you'll notice, there's a picket fence around this house, and the picket fences were around almost every house in Tullahoma to keep their stock in or keep other stock out from their yards. But it was a beautiful home, a comfortable home. There's stained glass windows on the front, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful part of Tullahoma's history. And quickly, here's what the home looks like today. It doesn't have a fence around it, doesn't even have the woodwork on the front porch like it used to, but it's still there and still a real good home. And this is to say that this is not the end of the story, as somebody else says, the rest of the story, because we're going to be back with some more wonderful things to share with you in the history of Tullahoma. And thank you for watching.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department needs you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street, heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing. Or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and what do we know? What did we learn today?
I learned so much from Coach Olive. I thought his interview was, what he had to say was spectacular.
He is a very, very special
How lucky
man.
we are to have young people in this town subjected to his leadership. He's amazing.
What a wonderful leader.
He really is.
Years ago there was a thing, evening given to honor him at Grace Baptist Church, and I was asked to speak, no, I wasn't asked, but people were talking and getting up and saying this and that, and after everybody had said what they said, I said, y'all have all said something about how John Olive is been great to have your children around him. I said, I'll take it a step further than that. John Olive's made me be a better man.
Yeah, he's a good man.
When you're around him,
I enjoyed meeting.
Respect him. You respect and think about what you say and how you phrase what you say.
I enjoyed having Colonel Johnson and
they're good folks.
Miss Sandy Seaburn and their
Bricks. Brick time. 4th of July.
4th of
Hey,
July.
folks, we're out of time. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends they can go online and see us on our YouTube page, Facebook page, and we'll see you next time.